Oh, baby. Oh my God. Oh, Michael, don't you dare put that in the video. That was not for the public. How to Rune Veromos. Veromos the dank Ifrit has been on my mind recently. He's had a really interesting career in Summoner's War. There was a time where he was a borderline unnecessary fusion and you could just cut straight to the bird. Gah, gah. And now he's by far the best first Nat 5 fusion. And ultimately, I think that's thanks to 4 key additions to his kit. 2 to his second skill, and 2 to his passive. First, his Mega Stomp. That's not what it's called. His Super Crush. The Ifrits only know a handful of words. They know Super, Mega Crush, and Stomp. Smash. Why do I keep saying Stomp? Stomp's not one of them. So, Super Crush got max HP damage scaling and soft crowd control in the form of attack bar reduction in case you fail to stun. Then he got attack bar gain on his passive after he attacks, depending on how many debuffs remain on the team. And there was a shift that made it so he cleanses debuffs before they trigger on his upkeep. So for instance, if a bomb would detonate, it is instead cleansed before it has the chance. So like bombs will get cleansed before they have a chance to detonate. There's going to be 2 sections to this video, PvE and PvP, because you can use them in both. So let's start with Cairos dungeons. And you can technically bring him to a whole host of different dungeons, but for the purpose of this video, we're mostly just going to be talking about giants and dragons, though you can bring him to a lot of different places. We want to maximize the output from that skill too, because the max HP damage scaling is no joke. So we're going to put him on Rage, Speed, Crit Damage, HP for your 2, 4, and 6 slots. If you're in the early game and you don't quite have access to a consistent source of Rage runes, you could go for a Swift set or a Fatal set with an emphasis on crit damage. And later on, don't forget too that you can always support your damage dealers by putting fight runes on other monsters on your team. With all that said, let's talk about stat priorities. If you're going for the crit damage build, that means you're going to want to emphasize these stats: crit rate, crit damage, and speed. And if you're building for crit damage, remember that it doesn't mean anything unless you're actively critting. So you'll want to aim for as close to 100% crit rate as humanly possible. Speed is important because Veromos is serving another purpose other than just being a damage dealer. He's also actively cleansing the defense break in giants or the dots in dragons. If you're looking for a specific number for speed, really speed tuning is the most important thing. You want Veromos to go after your defense breaking unit, but just remember, don't make him slow. I have mine pretty close to 90 speed. For your artifacts, you want to find skill 2 crit damage and damage towards whatever element you're fighting, be it water or fire. Now, PvP. Veromos is also one of my favorite monsters to bring into RTA right now because with Shizukas out there and anything that wants to apply a lot of debuffs, you can just slam down a Veromos as well as another auto-cleansing unit like Rakuni or Juno, and more often than not, they're going to have to ban at least one of them. Or you've just countered their whole team. Like, we got 2 builds to talk about straight out the gate. Violent Will and Violent Nem, with speed, crit damage, HP on your 2, 4, and 6 slots. The idea behind Violent Will is that you ideally want your opponent to have to jump through a few more hoops before they can turn one snipe your Veromos. Because essentially, he's the plan to bring this match into the mid to late game, which if you're bringing him up against Shizukas, Rikas, etc., that's where you're going to win. Violent Nem is the option if you're willing to give up a little survivability on that first turn for more turn cycling later. Stat priorities in PvP look a little bit different than PvE. You're going to want to prioritize speed, HP, and defense. These are the stats that are going to increase Veromos' survivability in the long term. In dungeons, you're predominantly bringing him for his skill 2. In RTA, you're usually bringing him for his passive. So you want to make sure that he sticks around long enough to use it more than just one time. Your secondary stats are crit rate, crit damage, and attack. If you want to opt out of crit damage entirely so you don't need to worry about crit rate, you can swap out that HP rune on slot 6 for an attack rune and put HP on slot 4, or vice versa. And for your artifacts, damage reduction is always great, as well as recovery on skill 3. If you have a particular way that you like to rune Veromos that you didn't see represented in this video, please leave it in a comment down below, because I'd love to talk more about this. Veromos has proven to be one of my favorite monsters of late, so I'd love to hear how folks are utilizing him. Or tell me if you have yet to hop on the Veromos train. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.